What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Odin coming back with another video, and today we're doing the box office breakdown for this weekend. And of course, it's all about Toy Story 4, a film that I have not seen yet because my weekend was absolutely insane, and I was not able to do pretty much anything, was not able to stream, wasn't able to really do many videos either, and yet I'm here doing this because it needs to be done, it needs to be talked about. But anyway, as you see, dominating the domestic box office is indeed Toy Story 4 with $118 million coming in at 4,575 theaters, which is an insane amount of theaters when you think about it. Child's Play coming in at $14 million, which by the basis of its budget alone probably means that it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. It was only made for about $10 million, so that film is going to make its money back, even though everyone apparently is hating all over it. Aladdin is still making money, a crap ton of money. Men in Black had a really sharp fall off down to 64.2% drop off in week 2, which means that it's probably going to be a big bomb by the end of its run. And of course, we are going to talk about many other films coming up in just a second. Starting off with Toy Story 4, making $238 million worldwide. Is this the best that it's ever done? Not really. It is ranked currently 4th in the overall Toy Story franchise. So as you notice here, it is going to probably, and obviously when you adjust for inflation, these numbers are going to be a little bit different. But when you look at this and you see the numbers, you see that overall it's pretty much on pace to do pretty well. Is it going to do nearly as well as Toy Story 3? Probably not. I don't see how it could possibly reach that $415 million number that it was able to reach back during Toy Story 3. But at the end of the day, still also, I think that it's still going to be able to make a pretty decent amount of change. It's still going to make its money back, but overall, as you can see, it is definitely going to be probably one of the weaker ones when it comes down to it. And from what I hear about the movie, there are some people that really like it, there are some people that don't really like it, and so I think that kind of explains why it's kind of being received in the same way, at least at the domestic box office and also worldwide box office as well. Child's Play made $14 million. Again, we don't really ever get worldwide totals for this because it tends to, these types of low budget films tend to release very differently when it comes to the global market, and so we don't really tend to get those numbers in very quickly. But for a $10 million budget, $14 million for the opening weekend is really not all that bad. This film probably will end up with $20 to $30 million, meaning that it will probably end up making some of its money back. And even though I hear it's one of the worst movies of the year, let alone horror films, it is still a movie that's going to end up breaking even. A movie that is really, honestly, I mean, for those who are asking, is this going to be able to beat the likes of Beauty and the Beast and be able to crack the $1 billion number, be able to beat Captain Marvel? No, it's not going to reach $1 billion, but it is still making a crap ton of money. I mean, as I said, this is a film that could easily top out $850, $900 million. It is still making crap tons of money, and as I said before, this is really bad because what this means is that Disney looks at this and says, ooh, they want more remakes. This means that people like remakes. So let's keep on making live action when it comes to Lion King, especially remakes of these movies. And so I'll give the same message I gave last time. Stop supporting these movies. If you want original content, if you don't want every single movie or most of the movies coming out of the Disney world to be either remakes or reboots or sequels, you got to stop paying to go see them. Just saying, especially when it's subpar and completely unnecessary. As I said before, the only great thing about this movie is Naomi Scott, and most of the things that are great about her you can already find on YouTube for free, and that's what I would recommend that you do instead. Don't go see this movie and give it more money because this is just giving them more incentive to keep on remaking and, in a lot of ways, kind of just tainting our childhood classic films. Men in Black International, $182 million. Is where it's currently sitting. Remember that the production budget, $110 million. Let's crack on another, $55 million for, the overall marketing of the film, meaning that it cost them about $165 million to make it. They need really about $400 million. I haven't done the exact math on it yet. They need a crap ton of money in order to make it back, because remember, they only get about 60% or so of the entire box office when you break down the numbers. So this film is definitely set to flop, which really doesn't surprise me all that much, seeing that it's a reboot that no one asked for. And that was, I guess, the big question was, is this going to be a continuation of the story, or is this going to be a complete reboot? And I've seen about half of the movie overall, Fire Stick, allegedly, of course, and it's just boring. It's boring, it's unnecessary, and it's a reboot. And no one was asking for a reboot of this franchise or this film, and so I think that because of that, people are saying, yeah, I'm not going to go see it, and numbers don't lie. Movie's not going to do well box office wise. It's going to end up probably losing money by the end of its run. A movie that's not going to be losing money, though, is John Wick Chapter 3, which is still doing very well, $289 million. Again, still making it the highest grossing of all of the different Wick films. Again, even when you adjust these things for inflation, when you look at the overall market, you see that it is still done the best. And this is, again, a franchise that I really think that everyone should look at. Again, they made an original concept, and they decided to make this giant world and build upon that giant world in the subsequent films. That's why you've seen more and more more people have gone to see it. You see that they almost double their numbers every single time a new movie comes out, which is why I'm very excited for John Wick Chapter 4 eventually when it comes out in a couple of years, because I think it's just going to be completely badass. And as long as they continue to not try to push any identity politics, which they pretty much stay away from in all their films, I think that they will be in pretty good shape. And it seems that Keanu Reeves is the kind of guy that's going to stay away from that nonsense in the first place. And so John Wick Chapter 3 is still doing extremely well. Godzilla King of the Monsters, as I said before, this movie needs to make a crap ton of money if it wants to break even. It's getting close-ish. I mean, again, it cost $170 million. Remember that Alita Battle Angel cost about $155 million to make. It needed to make $430 million in order to break even based off of a production budget and based on how much it actually gets from the box office. So if that was at $430 million, this means that this film needs to make about $450-ish. So this film is about $100 million off the mark, which means that this film is likely going to end up in the red. Now, one could easily argue that in the Blu-ray sales and the digital sales after the fact that they'll probably be able to make some of that up, but with them already having set up a Kong versus Godzilla film set to come out next year, it would not surprise me if the box office weakness of this film ends up being enough to kind of push that on the back burner, kind of maybe delay it by a year, because in all honesty, they don't want the next one to be like this or even worse, because people are kind of showing that we're getting a lot of fatigue. We're getting a lot of this, this giant CGI fest monster fatigue is indeed setting in. And sure enough, they were able to show that with this. And it's actually really surprising. I thought that Godzilla King of the Monsters, when it first was coming out, when they were first marketing it, that it had all the potential in the world to be a billion-dollar film. But as I said before, and I will continue to defend this, when 75% of the movie is still humans, yes, you still got 15% more monsters in this film compared to the 2014 movie, but when you have 75% of it still being humans and the human story sucks, guess what? People are not going to want to say, oh yeah, this is a movie that's worth seeing. And to all those Godzilla defenders out there saying, well, you just don't understand because you're not a real Godzilla fan, all I have to say is, okay, well then explain these numbers. Explain how this film is going to end up being in the red by the end of its run. Another film that's going to be in the red, oh boy. This film right here, which cost about $200 million to make, meaning it cost $300 million when you add in marketing. And yeah, it speaks for itself. This is probably going to be the biggest bomb of the year. And I think that you can blame Disney. You can blame a lot of people for them changing the ending because of Captain Marvel, for them doing all the reshoots and everything else. I think that a lot of people, obviously Simon Kinberg takes responsibility. He's come out and said he takes responsibility for the film not being as good as it can be. But at the end of the day, too, I really do think that Disney is to fault at this as well, because Disney obviously did not care about this. They wanted the X-Men universe to really die, which is really odd to me, because it's weird that a person would ever want a film that they're paying for, or that they're going to end up, having to pick the tab up on, would want them to actually lose money in the process and not want to make it the best film possible. But also, too, when you have people like Sophie Turner coming out talking about Georgia's laws, etc., and you have in the movie and a promo for the film the week of a promo of, I don't know why we called the X-Men, which could really call the X-Women, and I don't know why they would ever release that clip in the first place. Didn't help it, obviously, and this is a film, again, that is a giant box office bomb. Shaft. I hear it's great. I hear it's good. I know that Jeremy, for example, loved this film, and he's pointing out that the critics are going after this because they think that this film is racist and all the isms and ists that are out there. But at the end of the day, this is a film that is also just not really getting picked up by a lot of theaters, and is also not really getting picked up by a lot of people in general. Still, 3,000 theaters and only making $15 million is not very good. I thought that this film would be picked up a little bit more in the domestic market. It just does not seem to be really taking off all that much. I don't know if it means that the story and the title are just outdated, but at the end of the day, when you look at it, it does not look good for them. And Avengers Endgame, the big question, of course, being, are they going to be able to beat Avatar's record? Right now, it's sitting at $2.75 billion, and I still think that because of this push that they're doing this weekend, especially adding that 4 extra minutes of time in the end credits, I think that it's totally possible. Though, of course, I could easily be wrong on that, but do not be surprised if they try another push and they offer something like posters or something similar. But anyway, guys, what are y'all's thoughts about this? Have you seen any of these movies that I talked about before? Do you disagree with any of my thoughts or any of my analyses of any of these films, like Godzilla being a flop? Again, it's going to lose money at some point. Dark Phoenix being probably one of the biggest flops of the year. Men in Black being one of the biggest flops of the year as well. Aladdin, for some reason, making money. Stop going to support these remakes and these reboots, because Disney's going to keep on making them if people keep on going to see them. Child's Play, Toy Story. What are your thoughts about Toy Story 4? Again, I hear that some people love it, some people hate it. Overall, audience score and critic scores are pretty similar on a lot of sites, a lot of various websites that are not Rotten Tomatoes, which is a good thing. And overall, it was a pretty decent weekend, at least for Toy Story 4. at the box office. Everything else kind of, made as much as it could. Anna, which is a film that no one ever heard of, came out in very little screens, made $3 million. So, who knows? Who knows if that film's going to make any money? Wild Rose, Toni Morrison, The Pieces I Am, A Bigger Splash, and The Quiet One all came out to pretty much no fanfare whatsoever. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about all of these things in the comments below. If you like this video, smash the like button, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. Please, again, stay continued and stay tuned here to the Geeks and Gamers channel, where we will continue to keep you abreast about all of these things, including the box office. Have a good one, guys. And as always, God bless.